2010 to 2012.
2010 to 2012 on Forest Avenue. This club actually met there for a few months, I believe, back in that time. So always a supporter of craft beer. And he went on to other things and eventually started his own brewery called Ross Brewing. We have, hello, am I still here? Yeah. We have five of their beers tonight that we're going to try, and a bonus beer at the end. So we're going to have 6 beers for you to try tonight.
All right.
Without further ado, here's the man himself, Mr. John Ross.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you all for coming out. I've known Michael and Laura, obviously, for more than 10 years. I just realized I already made a mistake. We opened it in July 2009. Wild Goose, Forest Avenue. It was a restaurant called Forest Gardens. Before that, an Irish bar called Dunnigan's. And then we turned it into a craft beer multi-tap. In a time when there wasn't a lot of that, and certainly none on Staten Island. The only real craft beer bar we had then was Adobe Blues. Up. So we had one beer bar on the island back then, Adobe Blues, where they had a whole bunch of cans like this, but they only had 3 taps. So when we opened the Wild Goose, we had 32 taps, and it was all craft and import, no Bud Miller, Coors, Corona at that time. And over the years at the Wild Goose, we expanded from 32 taps to 48 to 64, ultimately to 78 taps. And as Mike alluded to, the beer club used to meet there on Thursday nights. Nick, founding member right there. And so great to come back home and see some familiar faces, and as Mike said, some new faces as well. So we had that place, and obviously the vision for craft beer, doing it in taps, bottles. I think we did between, and again, cans weren't as prevalent back then, so we did about 500 varieties of cans. We had a club as well. The more you drank, you earned different ranks, and not all on the same night. I think for legal purposes, you can only get credit for 3 beers in a single night.
Oh, that sucks.
I know. I know. Otherwise, people are going to come in and try to do 10 in a night. That's not going to be good for anybody, least of all the servers. So, but obviously the passion for craft beer was there, and we had been home brewing in the garage for a number of years. And I had a day job at a manufacturing company, L'Oreal. It makes makeup and perfume and skincare and this stuff. And I'm sitting there in the factory, watching the lines fill the shampoo bottles. And it reminded me of the opening of Laverne and Shirley, which I think I definitely dated myself for some of the younger people here. But, the beginning of that show, they're working at the brewery in Milwaukee, and I'm like, how different is it to fill beer cans and beer bottles than what we were doing at the plant with shampoo and stuff? So you combine the craft beer bars, and we had the Wild Goose here on Staten Island. We had a second one in New Jersey called Maloney's Pub. You had the 2 craft beer pubs. You got the home brewing going on in the garage. You got the manufacturing experience. We said, put it all together. Come on in, come on, Harold, we got a seat, and Harold's girl. And said, put it all together, let's get this craft brewery open. So how many of you guys here on Staten Island are familiar with Monmouth County, New Jersey? Monmouth County, I got some hands going up here, some hands going up. So it was in the news, it was in the national news this week. The town of Long Branch, New Jersey was on the news. We had some fun over there. That's right down the block from the brewery. There's some other towns there. Seabright, Asbury Park, of course, very famous, and Red Bank. And Red Bank is where Ross Brewing got started. In fact, I'm wearing a retro Ross Brewing shirt right now. It still says Red Bank, New Jersey on it. That was our original location. We had an all-brick firehouse, a 150-year-old building. Wow. And the thing is, we outgrew it before we even got started. So we moved one town over. Our town is called Middletown, New Jersey. Okay. It's on the bay. It's facing right across the Staten Island. From our brewery, you can see right to Great Kills in Staten Island. And hold on one second. Maybe I'll show you guys a little visual aid here. And yeah, let's pull that together. So you see Staten Island up there on the top left?
Yeah.
And that yellow dot, that's us, Ross Brewing. You can get from Great Kills to our brewery in 20 minutes. How? Well, very specifically, if you came by boat, because we're the only brewery in the United States of America, in New Jersey, in New York, in Pennsylvania, Connecticut, anywhere in the United States, we are the only brewery that is literally on the water. We have a dock. Boats come in and out to our dock all the time. We're inside a working fishery. You can see our neighbor there is the Belford Seafood Co-op Association. It's a working fishery. These guys go out every morning. They catch fresh fish. They bring them in. They're hardworking guys. The youngest guy there, the youngest fisherman, is about 85 years old. And there's just not a lot of new young fishermen coming in anymore. But they're good neighbors. Whenever we do beer that requires their product, here's one right here. This is called Oystout. It's an oyster stout that we do to benefit the ocean cleanup. And I go right next door to the fishery. I'm like, dude, I need 200 pounds of oysters. Next day we have fresh caught oysters. You can't beat it. So I do encourage you, and we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end, but for you guys, if you're coming out to the shore in the summer, where your first stop, as I said, we're right over the outer bridge, and entirely founded by Staten Islanders. Gentleman to my left here, this is Jim. He's my brother-in-law, another native Staten Islander, and he is the Ross Brewing sales rep for Staten Island. So, he's kind of reactivated our brand here. When we started this brand in 2019, we started on Staten Island. Our first 10 accounts were all right, not in New Jersey, they were all right here on Staten Island. Mike and the Hop Shop were one of them. And now that we brought Jim on the team, we're reactivating that. He's got us in a number of different places. If you think of a place that you'd like to see our beer after tonight and you've tried them, talk to Jim. He's the local. So let's talk about the first beer that you guys should have in your sample cup there. That is our flagship lager, okay? And that is called Shrewsbury Logger.
Ooh.
And the Shrewsbury Logger...
Oh, it smells so good.
I appreciate you saying that. The Shrewsbury Logger, and here's some information on that. All of our flagship beers are named after the different rivers in New Jersey. We started with all the rivers in Monmouth County where we are. We used those up pretty quickly, as you can see by the board here. So we expanded to other rivers in the state. But the Shrewsbury is one of the first two beers we made. This is what we call our gateway beer. I got my dad hooked on this. I got my father-in-law hooked on this. These are non-craft beer drinkers, and this is how we hook them in. So this is an amber Vienna style lager. It's sort of modeled after three of the first really craft beers or American crafted beers that I had, which were Sam Adams Boston Lager, Brooklyn Lager, and Yingling Lager. Now all three of those are ambers or Viennas, and so what I tried to do there is sort of reverse engineer a recipe that sort of fit in the center of those three. So we've got some cluster hops, some Tettnang, some Hersbrucker, and it's not a high alcohol beer. You're going to be about 5.2% or so. It should get earthier tones. It should have that crisp, clean, really sharp lager finish. And of all the beers that we have, this is the beer that's on tap in the most restaurants. So not the most bars, not the most at liquor stores and beer stores, but in restaurants, this is number one for us because it pairs well with steak, it pairs well with pork, and so it is a very approachable beer. And as I say, we call it our gateway beer. If somebody says, I'm not a craft beer drinker, we give them this. It's close enough to beers they might know, then we get them in, we get them hooked. Then we get them on the triple IPA, pineapple, or whatever. But this is where we start. So that's Shrewsbury Logger. Give it a try.
It's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So before we move on to the next beer, any questions? Oh, Dick, question.
I had a question about the location.
Yes, sir.
I did not realize there were boats.
Oh, yes, sir.
Can I kayak that?
Absolutely. let me rephrase. I don't know. Can you? Because you absolutely can land there. I'm gonna get you one say you can land there, but you would have to go across, right? You know, take
I've gone further than that down the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, no, we have low enough.
Oh yeah, we
have low enough.
We do, and in fact, Nick, I'm going to bring the map back up in 1 second. In addition to our brewery itself, which clearly you can dock at, I don't know if you can see, to the left of the brewery, there's a river system, and all day long in the fair weather, that whole river system is filled with kayakers. Now, not many come across the bay from Staten Island, I'll give you that, but all day long, kayakers. And there's something else about our dock too. We're inundated with blue claw crabs. So many, in fact, you don't even need bait. If you drop a string in the water, you'll pull it up with 2 to 3 crabs. So, you know, we're putting a fire pit in the backyard beer garden. We'll provide the Old Bay. You guys catch the crabs. I don't know how that sounds, but you know what I mean.
I saw a restaurant.
You catch the crab.
I saw a restaurant like that in Rhode Island.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was like you bring it.
Do you guys do like beer tours or have visitation at the brewery? I feel like
So excellent question, and what do you got to ask?
there's no point kayaking over there.
Right. Well, so if you want to kayak over now, we're going to put you to work. I'm going to tell you what. So this gentleman asked, do we do beer tours and tastings? I'm going to show you some pictures in a little bit towards the end about what it looks like and what it's going to look like. The short answer is we're just wrapping up construction on our public tasting room. We were shooting for Memorial Day weekend opening. Spoiler alert, we didn't make it. But we hope to have that open in July or August and then welcome you out. There's actually, again, I'll show you the pictures. There's 2 tasting rooms, 2 buildings, an upstairs private party room, and 2 different outdoor beer gardens with 2 different water views. So lots of opportunities. It is dog friendly, it is kid friendly. The same rule applies to both. Don't bring them if they bite. And
don't bring them if they bite.
All right, so before we go to second beer, any questions on that Shrewsbury Logger? All right, so let's go number 2. And that's going to be just a minute. Oh, and here comes Laura now. All right, so let's bring that up. So I'll tell you a little bit about this second beer.
The Shrewsbury.
So you guys just had our Shrewsbury Logger. This is our Navasync Ipa. Navasync Ipa is our flagship IPA. This is our #1 bestseller in both cans and draft.
Oh, so good.
All told, by the way, Ross Brewing, between New York City, Long Island, Westchester, and New Jersey, we're in about 350 locations. That counts both on-premise, which would be places where you can sit and drink just like this with draft beer, as well as off-premise, a beer store, you go pick it up, take it home, drink it on the porch or whatever. So Navisick Ipa is our bestseller. It is a throwback IPA in this sense. It is not a New England IPA. It is not a hazy IPA. It's kind of juicy, but it is a West Coast IPA. And when we were homebrewing this one, what we were thinking of were those classic California West Coast IPAs from Ballast Point, Lagunitas, Stone, Green Flash, Russian River. The classic American West Coast IPA. This one in particular is made with 8 different varieties of hops.
Wow.
So it's a costlier beer to make, but we think it's worth it. And then it ferments for 2 weeks on a bed of ruby red grapefruits that we chop up.
Whoa.
And the thinking there is the particular hops that we use, the Pacific Northwest hops, they're less earthy hops, less floral hops, they're more citrus hops. And so the grapefruit's meant to accentuate the citrus in those hops. This is not supposed to taste like a grapefruit. It's supposed to say, oh, you know, I get notes of that. This is a double IPA, so it's going to be higher alcohol than the Shrewsbury. This is a 7.8%. So that's what it is, a double IPA, West Coast style IPA with grapefruit.
Right.
And you know, when we walk into bars and restaurants now, when Jim's walking into bars on Staten Island, or we got other people here in the city or out in Jersey, you know, like, hey, we've got our IPA. Okay, IPA is crazy. You know, is it a New England? Is it a hazy? So that's not this one, man. And we have those. They're on the board here. We can talk about them later. But for our flagship, we do this West Coast throwback. And then what happens is you'll have someone say, you know what? I got 4 hazy IPAs on. I'd like to try something different. I'd like to do a West Coast. So that's how we get in the door, and then hopefully they like it and we stay in the door. So before we move on, any questions on that one?
I don't have any questions, but I will say, man, the flavor on this IPA is good. I like the unique go-to. I feel
How much are we paying this guy?
It's 0.
All right, talk to him after the show. All right. Yeah.
The piggyback on that.
I wasn't even done yet, but it's
I'm
good.
sure people are going to come, so we tried all 4 of them.
Oh, you tried it before you came up here.
And
That's dedication, Mike. That's a good customer too.
we
Yeah.
picked out the best ones, and we were like, oh, this is it. What? And then you're talking about it, and we're like, oh, this is it.
All right, thank you so much. Very kind words.
It's not super hazy, man, but it has good flavor. I like how you said, man, like you try to capture that California.
I appreciate
This is a
that.
good one. For flat
It's very well balanced.
And that's why we think it is our best seller, is because people appreciate those elements. You know, which, don't get me wrong, I love a good hazy, and you know, we'll talk about it when we go through the board.
grapefruit was a good choice.
We got a few, but I think that's the secret weapon right there, which is not a secret because I just told you about it. But
Tart, but not overpowering.
right.
And it's hoppy, but not overpowering.
There's a kind of tart, which makes it more summer.
Oh, all right.
I love it.
Well, we're going into the summer.
I'm fired her, I'm like,
All right.
it's the West Coast, like, I just want to relax.
I love that summer IPA.
Well, listen,
It's also hazy too.
we just got into a beer store not far from here, right? So we'll talk about it later. Right?
Why Navasync?
What's that?
Why the name?
Okay, so just like Shrewsbury, Navasync is the name of one of the big rivers in New Jersey. Now I tell you, we started in Red Bank, right before we moved to the new campus in Middletown. So Red Bank is a city in New Jersey, in Monmouth County, that is bordered by 2 rivers. The Navasync on the north and the Shrewsbury on the south. So, you know, Jim, can you turn around for a second? So you see that's the Ross Brewing logo there. That's our sailboat. You know, you see it on the banner right here. You see it on this made with reclaimed wood from Hurricane Sandy that we painted up. So that sailboat, you know, we love to get out on the water, and so that's why all of our core beers are named after these different rivers. And the cool thing about New Jersey, which as a native Staten Islander, I never even thought I would say that sentence. But you know, the cool thing about it is there's so many Native American names in terms of the rivers, the towns. You know, one of the other beers that we do, it's not here, it's our number 3 beer in terms of sales. That's our Manasquan IPA. So Manasquan's another town down the Jersey Shore. I'm sorry, I said Manasquan IPA. It's a Manasquan wheat beer. Right up there on the top row, the tan can, that's named after the Manasquan River, another Native American name. So this Navasync is this river, and it's from the Lenape Indians, and that was their term for that river. Okay, so 3rd beer. If you guys are ready, we can bring something out. Let me find that one on the chart here. Yep, there it is. Okay. So this is the next one that you guys are going to be drinking. So I'll tell you a little bit about this. This one, by the way, there is no Marshmallow River, at least not if, you know, unless you're in Candyland or something. But so this one is kind of straightforward because this is a raspberry marshmallow sour. Oh, okay, so we could have. So it's a raspberry marshmallow sour. And there's all different kinds of sours. You can do it with Brett, with lactic. You can do a Goza. You can do a Flanders Red and Oud Brewing. This one is a Berliner Weiss. It's a German style, low ABV. We added over 1,000 pounds of fresh raspberries and then about 250 pounds of marshmallows. So before you even drink it, I would encourage you to take a smell. And one of the gals on our team said, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of that milk that's left over after you have a bowl of Lucky Charms. So that Lucky Charms cereal milk. And I said, you know what? We're going to start using that in the marketing. That's good.
Whoa, it smells good.
It does.
So hopefully you're getting some raspberry notes, some marshmallow notes. No, we're good. So it's low ABV.
It really does taste like the candy and the cereal.
Dangerous stuff.
That's my favorite.
That's Jim's favorite. You heard it here. It's only 4.4%. So, you know, it's meant obviously not to get you overly intoxicated, but a nice sipping sour, and it's one of the newer beers we did. That's what the can looks like. So if you're at the store, whatever beer store you guys shop at, you know, oh, you guys know Ross, bring in the Marshmallow, and we'll try to get some in for you.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Because I'm not usually a sour guy. So I only asked, and you said it's your favorite.
My favorite.
Why sour?
You know what? I was never a sour guy either, and I had this at the brewery one day, and I was like, this made me a sour guy. You know, it's that I like to. I work all week during the day. I do this on the side at night. I like to sit down after a day of work on my back deck, cigar in one hand, little Marshmallow on the other. And it's, like he said, it's not going to get you know, up here, but it's a nice relaxer at the end of the night.
And, you know, it's not overly sour, or at least it shouldn't be. Not like pucker, not super sour. It's a milder sour owing to the Berliner Weiss style.
Yeah, the beer tasting, bro.
Alright, so while you guys are sipping on that, I'll show you a couple other before we get to the next beer. And these are like all the different beers that we had. You saw that on the beer wall here.
So, I mean, they did their job. You got berries in it.
So these next three pictures, this is what our main tasting room looks like. So we have 22 taps in the tasting room. You know, it's actually, look at that, Jim. On the left of that picture, I can swear I've seen that sailboat picture somewhere before. It's right over there. Okay. So we got to get it back in the brewery. So now this building is one of two buildings on the grounds. We have two buildings. One is the production brewery. That's where all the beer is made. And there's a small tasting room in that building that has about 8 taps. This building is purely dedicated for the tasting room. So what I'm going to show you now is just the first floor. So you've got here. We're going to come back again. Okay, just a different angle of the bar. And then what you can see here is that garage door, that opens right up onto the dock on the water. So for those that do rent boats, or by kayak, or maybe you're just a really good swimmer, whatever it is, you come up to the dock and you literally walk in right into the brewery from the water. Obviously we have a land approach for the rest of us, but there is that water approach that you can come into the brewery that way. So that's the first floor of the tasting room. Say again? We have room for it. We didn't put the heliport in yet. Okay. Let's talk about our fourth beer.
All right.
So this one, you'll bring it around in a little bit, but I'll start to get you prepared. So the fourth beer you're going to be drinking tonight, this is called Bacchanator. Bacchanator. So why did I start homebrew? Because I really like German Bocks and Doppelbocks. Doppelbock is just a double bock. It's a stronger one with more alcohol. This one is 8%. I laughed because earlier today on one of the beer groups on Facebook, I saw a brewery advertising a low alcohol Doppelbock.
You can't do that.
You can't.
I said, a low alcohol Doppelbock, that's a bock.
For shame!
It's already have a name for it. It's just a single bock. It's a bock. So, but this one is 8%. Back when I had, you know, the bar in Jersey, we had the bar on Forest Avenue, the Wild Goose. My favorite beers to drink were these German import bocks. Salvatore from Paulaner, Aventinus, Schneiderweiss. All these German bocks really were tasty for me. They were malty, they were they were sweet. And so we wanted to do our take on one. And we just really wanted to double down on that malty sweetness. So we also put some milk chocolate in this one. So it's a milk chocolate Doppelbock, 8%. You know, this is not going to be a hoppier beer, right? This is the opposite of Navisick Ipa that has 8 varieties of hops. This is a single hop. It's a Hallertau Hersbrucker, a German hop, which would make sense for this style, as well as the German lager yeast again. Bocks, even though they're dark beers, immediately your mind goes, oh, wait a minute. Is a dark beer like a winter beer? Well, they're called Maibocks as an alternate name because they were released every May in Bavaria and Germany. That's why the name is a Maibock or a Maibock that's the full name for the Bock style. And again, this is a Doppelbock, so it's a German chocolate Doppelbock.
Oh, this is still the marshmallow.
Bockinator. I'll be Bockinator.
I'll be Bockinator, yeah.
And if you guys know anything about Bocks, you'll see traditionally they'll always have a goat or goats on the can, so we did stick with that tradition here. You know, going all the way back to the pagan times, right? So that May festival, May Day, that is still celebrated in Europe, in large part, not as much here in the US, of course. But, you know, they'd always sacrifice a couple of goats and drink a few beers. So we can do that now without the goat sacrifice.
Yes, I like it, Bockinator.
8%. All right. So you guys sip on that one. We'll give you another tease from the brewery. Now we'll show you the second floor.
Ooh.
So upstairs from that tasting room you just saw, that's an auxiliary tasting room that also serves as a private party room. Again, there's another bar there. Not the full 22 taps, that's 8 to 10 taps upstairs. It's a different vibe. You've got some couches, you've got some chill music, totally different than downstairs. On weekends where there's no party booked for that, this will serve as tasting room overflow. I can tell you this much. The tasting room is not open to the public yet. We already have 30 parties booked. So it probably will be a while before that's accessible in the normal tasting room.
Can I come there to open it?
Yeah, right.
Everyone here is invited to that.
Wow.
That comes with your ticket for free. It's all on Mike, all right? So, yeah.
Where's Mike?
What? Mike, raise your hand, Mike. Mike,
There you go.
he's got your ticket to the grand opening. So, yeah. But yeah, so that's the second floor here. You know, the right time of day, you got the sun coming in off the water. It's a really, really sweet spot. All right, now the next one, Jim, we're gonna have to do by cans, right? That's gonna be the It's a Mood. So whenever, well, yeah, I did. They should be good to go. Hold on, one quick second. So it's done in house. So basically, there's 3 of us.
Like it.
I'll give the can idea to our head marketer, and then we also have a head designer, and then they'll go back and forth. They'll give me something. I'll come back with notes. You ask them. I come back with too many notes. I think I have enough notes, but in the end, we come up with these, and we're kind of happy.
That's the lead.
Come on, this guy knows. All right, we'll talk a little bit about it, because Mike just asked. So Mike said it looks like there's kind of 2 different design schemes on our cans. You're absolutely right. All of our core beers, the River series, right? Tonight, you guys already drank Navasync Ipa and Shrewsbury Logger, but there's also Manasquan Wit, which is our Belgian-style wheat beer with orange, lemon, and coriander, which has been in the past been on tap here, by the way, and maybe in the future, we'll see. Passaic Porter is our honey vanilla chocolate porter. Shark River Pils, it's a single hop Czech-style American Pils, so we use the the American super noble hop known as Laurel. What else? Oh, Tom's River, that's an American pale ale. You know, think somewhere between Sierra Nevada and Troves.
There's a river in Jersey called Shark River.
There is a river in New Jersey called Shark River.
Is it the one where the kid got eaten by the shark?
Actually, believe it or not, no, it's not. That would make sense. That's in Mattawan, New Jersey. That's called the Mattawan Creek. But anyway, to Mike's point, all of those core beers and any sort of seasonals, right? So, what are seasonals? The winter seasonal is the Ice Boat Winter Warmer. The fall seasonal we really like. That's the Jacktoberfest. It's a pumpkin Oktoberfest. That's all one style. Then when we do New England IPAs, hazy IPAs, and milkshake IPAs, collectively what we call the Hype IPA series. Those are a completely different style. You get some holographic foil, you get some different patterns. So you've got Killer Intellect, Virtual Learning, It's a Mood, which we're about to drink now. Double Edged is our latest release. This was our favorite last summer. It's not a bop. It's a Honeydew Melon, Coconut, Vanilla Milkshake IPA.
That sounds fun.
Banger. So, yes, those have a different style. That's how, if you're in the beer store and you see that, you'll know that's more of like a hype style. And then our classic styles, the pale ales, the lagers, the pilsners, those are always going to be the more traditional looking cans. Yes.
So how many different flavors on the record? Like, you got a lot of cans of beer, so how many different flavors in total you guys got? Like,
So far in our first 2 years, we've put out 38 beers and 2 ciders. We do in the fall, we do the Harvest Cider. The cider's coming in a 12-ounce can. That's a traditional golden cider, inundated with all fall spices, you know, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, star anise, orange peel. That's that one. And then what we just released now in May, and we do this one from May to September, that's our pink rosé cider. So that uses not just apples, but New York State wine grapes as well, and rose petals, and hibiscus leaves. It pours pink like a pink rosé or a brosé if that's your thing, and it tastes like it too, but then at the end it has that cider crisp finish. So we had 38 beers and 2 ciders. Let's talk about the 5th beer that I think y'all should be getting now. Mike's got some cans. That's going to be this one right here, and that's called It's a Mood. So let me pull It's a Mood up here. Okay, so It's a Mood is an example, as you can see by the can. To Mike's point, it's a different style of can because it's a milkshake IPA, a double dry hop DDH milkshake IPA. This particular one uses sweet cherries and vanilla.
Ooh.
So it's a cherry vanilla milkshake IPA. Comes in at 7.7%, so just under 8. Still
That
falls within
is
the
an interesting
double
color.
IPA. It should be fruity.
Yeah.
It should be thick. It should be creamy. It should make you question, is this a beer or not? Right? Is it a beer? Is it a milkshake? What's going on? So it's a cherry vanilla milkshake IPA. Hundreds of pounds of fresh sweet cherries from upstate New York, as well as vanilla beans, and obviously lactose. Oh, we should say that right off the bat. If we didn't infer that from the name Milkshake IPA, if you are lactose intolerant, this is not the beer for you. Any questions on this beer or any of the beers or anything on the brewery? Any? All right.
I'll get to that. I have rundown.
By the way, I mentioned we have, we have a little bar, a little tasting room in the front building, the big building, which is where all the beer tanks are. That's where we produce everything. That's the brewery. Nice and shiny steel we got there. You can see, I mean, that's not like fresh out of the box. We didn't even use it yet. But we do have in that building a smaller tasting room. As I said, this one's only 8 taps in this tasting room. So there's some people that might want to just come, grab a quick beer, and get on the way. They would stop here. If you want to go to the back building and hang out, you can do that too. And in between the 2 buildings, this is the rendering on the beer car. So we've got the water, we've got the tables. As I said, we're installing the fire pit right now. There is no actual Ross Brewing sailboat that looks like that. The designer threw that in as a bonus. Maybe one day, if the beer does well enough, maybe we'll get that. So we definitely want to welcome you all out to the brewery. And
I don't know, it's kind of an odd taste.
Bonus beer, yeah. I think let them sip that one a little bit longer. Let me, one second. In the meantime, if you guys are not one of our 27,000 followers on Instagram, okay, I would ask that you go ahead and drop us a follow, just like Nick did earlier tonight, okay? It's at Ross Brewing. And if you drop us a follow, let me know. We'll give you a sticker, okay? Jim, you know what? Jim, give everybody a sticker. Come on, go crazy here. All right? So, we got a full lock screen. That wasn't supposed to happen. So, boom, we got it. So, you know, this is where, when we drop a new beer, you know, we tell you it's going to be on here. When we open a new spot, we tell you what's going to be at. So, this is where, for the last month, we've been telling you, we're going to be at the Hop Shop Thursday night. And, you know, you'll get the graphics on the new beers, you'll get the ingredient shots, thank you, Harold, sticker, and you know, we tell you, whenever there's a special event going on, this is basically to get the news. The most important news you're going to get on there.
Is he going to stick it? He didn't like the beer.
If he didn't like, give her a sticker then. But the most important news you're going to get on here are going to be the details for the grand opening. So drop us the follow, and there's one other thing. You can, besides that follow, you can come up here and scan this, but I'll make it even easier for you. Just go to rossbrewing.com. Rossbrewing.com. It's a website on this interweb thing, right? You go to rossbrewing.com. You scroll down to the bottom of the front page. It says sign up. If you sign up and you put your email, that's the only way on this planet that you get an invite to the grand opening. So rossbrewing.com, scroll to the bottom of the front page, sign up, hit the button, put your name and email, you will get added to the grand opening invite list. It'll be a 3-day grand opening. We hope we make enough beer to last for 3 days. Let's talk about the bonus beer. You guys came for 5 beers, you get 6.
Ooh.
I mean, it's crazy. No, I mean, nobody knows what's going to happen. All
But
right.
wait, there's more.
All right, this is called Beer 13. Beer 13. Beer 13, we did in collaboration with a very fun bar in Hoboken, New Jersey called, anyone know?
Pier 13?
Pier 13, nailed it. Pier 13 is a pier, they're out over the water, they look at the skyline, they have a good time. I've had fun there more times than I can, actually more times than I can remember, because a lot of times I don't remember leaving. So Beer 13 is a Belgian-style wit, sort of similar to our Manasquan wit right here, but with one key difference. It is loaded up with blueberries. So this is a blueberry wheat. So earlier we mentioned if you have a lactose allergy, right? So you don't want to drink the milkshake. If wheat's your kryptonite, you don't want to drink this beer, right? So gluten, wheat, this is not the beer for you.
I'll still try it.
All right. We appreciate the sacrifice.
I'll still try.
All right. So that's your blueberry wheat. This is a low alcohol, 5.1% beer. In the parlance of the kids today, this is a summer crusher. All I know is that bar in particular, they're going through 20 cases a week. We just started selling it in the stores. And if you live in New York, and I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb and say most of you do. If you go onto this website, taprm.com, taproom.com, but no O's, taprm, taprm.com. They carry all our beers, they'll deliver them right to your door.
Whoa.
Is Staten Island too?
Still part of New York. I know they're trying to secede, but they ain't yet. All right. So you can still get it. Of course, there are stores locally around. Jim will give you a list of those in a little bit. But if you just got a craving, they'll get it to you. I think the way taproom works is this. If you live in Brooklyn, Queens, or Manhattan, they guarantee it within like an hour or two. If you're in Staten Island, the Bronx, or Long Island, it'll be next day. Because the whole thing that they say there's no subway here, right? But who knows?
I got paid toll.
What's that?
Yeah.
That's what
You gotta pay the toll.
You gotta pay the troll toll.
Or you gotta get on the boat.
So, those are the 6 beers we brought with you of the 38 we have. Any questions on anything we discussed? Anything you want to know? Now's the time. Mike is already tapping his watch. That means we only have 2 minutes left. So, any questions? Now's the time. Gentlemen.
Are you hiring?
Are you a brewer?
No.
Are you? Oh, you want to be a taster? All right.
Well, I'll do anything.
All right. Well, let's talk after, man. We'll see if our needs align with your skill set. Yeah, go for it.
All right, so I just want to talk really quick about the Staten Island distribution. As John said, my name is Jim, and I am the Staten Island sales and events guy. Right. So right now, we are here tonight. Right. We also have 7 varieties on Staten Island being sold in the store. Is anybody familiar with Frank's Beverages, brand new store? All right, I'm going to tell you
already
about,
knows. They just
you know
opened. She
about
knows.
Frank's. Frank's Beverages opened up on Page Avenue in Tottenville.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite end of the island, right? They are in the parking lot out there that has the McDonald's in it across the street from the Burger King. There's a liquor store next door. She bought the building next to her and she opened up a beer store. Right now, on their shelves, I have Shrewsbury Logger. I have Manasquan Wit. I have our Tarted Up, which is amazing cherry tart. I have the Oystout, which John talked about with the fresh oysters. I have the Marshmallow, and we have Twilight Sky. Twilight Sky is a collaboration beer that we did with another brewery. If you're interested in tasting any of those beers, I will be there on Saturday. I will be there on Saturday for a tasting. I'm going to tell you the times right now. Hold on one second.
1 to 4.
1 to 4. 1 to 4 on Saturday at Frank's Beverages. I'm going to be doing a tasting there on the holiday weekend just to get everybody out there and taste this beer. Right? Go ahead.
Is that next to Richmond Valley, for example, if I take the train?
Yeah, not too far from there. Like where the roller skating rink is, right over that hill.
Yeah, go exactly.
Right?
No, exactly.
So, go ahead, Nick.
It's right over the bridge, like on west side.
Oh, it's on Page Avenue. Page Avenue in Tottenville. It's in the shopping plaza out there with the McDonald's in it that's across from the Burger King.
Take the train to the last stop.
Right, you take the train to the last stop. It's in that shopping plaza.
Second from last.
Right, second to last stop, right. We are going to be pushing into some other places. I'm not going to talk about that right now. If you know anybody that may be interested in getting our Ross Brewing into their stores, delis, wherever, let me know. I will give you my contact information tonight, and you can point me in the direction, and I will fight my hardest to get it where you want it. All right, does anybody have any questions about that? Like I said, 1 to 4 on Saturday, I'm going to be there.
Can I get the one that I like, the
Navasync? Did they bring that one in yet? Not yet.
I don't think she bought
You got that one?
Navasync.
Is it only on
And listen, it's on tap right here at the hop shop,
I
man.
know that. That's why I'm here.
Right. So right now she's carrying Shrewsbury Logger, Manasquan with Tio Valero, Tarted Up, Oystout, Marshmallow, and Twilight Sky.
I'll just say this. So, Mike alluded to this at the beginning. This beer club used to meet at our place, the Wild Goose. Mike would come, Laura would come, Nick would come. A couple other guys came too. Pat, Sean. They opened a great brewery down the road called Hillsborough Brewing.
Yeah.
And they're about to open an even bigger spot over by Snug Harbor. So we feel pride because they used to come to the beer club at the Goose too. Now they're off to the races. And don't forget about my buddies Jay and Matt down the road at Flagship Brewing, okay? So when you're here on Staten Island, you got great breweries right in your backyard.
Flagship just partnered with the Staten Island,
The Ferry Hawks.
Ferry Hawks, yeah.
Yeah.
The Hawk City beer.
So those breweries,
I have
as well as Ross Brewing, you can see all of us the same day at the same place. It's the Brew for Autism event, June 18th. Okay, we did this event years ago when we were home brewers. We're happy to return now as a production brewery. You're gonna get your flagship flagship. You're going to get your Shrewsbury. You're going to get us. We like to think of ourselves as the unofficial third Staten Island brewery. We're all from Staten Island. All these recipes were made in my garage right here on Staten Island.
Yeah.
All right, grew up in New Brighton and West Brighton, right over here.
You're Staten Island abridged.
Give Staten Island a bridge?
Well, I was just saying Staten Island abridged or Staten Island adjacent.
Oh, okay. I like that. Or Staten Island adjacent, Jim. Work that into the But that's it. So, you know, we you know, if you're from here, if you've lived here for 30 years, like my friend over here with the Rangers jacket, she moved in 1988. You're a naturalized, born Staten Island. You're here, it's in your blood, it never leaves you. And sometimes you wish it might, but it never does. And so that's it. So that's Ross Brewing. I want to thank you guys all for coming out. Mike, I'll give you the mic back. Let's hear it for Mike in the Hop Shop.
Thank you all for coming. Thanks to John and Jim and all of you that have come out here tonight. And you know your job now. Your job is to go into other places and ask for Ross beer.
Yeah.
Why don't you have Ross?
Demand Ross!
Demand what you want.
Sorry,
Again, thanks everybody coming out tonight. Another great night.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Next month we have a little bit of a return of someone. So we have a gypsy brewer called Back Home Beer. She's an Iranian woman who brews her own beer, which is obviously not the most common thing, and that's why I think it's super cool that we're going to have her. Now she is a gypsy brewer. She doesn't have a brewery, but she is now brewing over at Flagship. So we're going to have our good friend, an old friend, Doug Williams, who was for years presided over this very same club, and is now the head brewer over at Flagship. He's going to come and speak with her, and then she only has a few beers, but we're going to do some of the new Flagship beers that have come out. They have a guava goza, some other cool stuff coming out. So it's kind of interesting for us because I know some of you are new, but Doug was the man standing here doing what I'm doing for 10 years. So it's pretty cool to have him come back and preside over it once again for a night. So it'll be the last Thursday of the month.
I was going to say, what's the date on that?
The date is whatever the last Thursday is. Oh no, so it's not the last Thursday because that's actually going into July 4th weekend. So it's going to be June 23rd, but check out the Facebook, check out the Instagram, and it'll be on there. You'll see it. Thanks to Laura as always for helping and being my right hand, and I couldn't do without her.
We're going to hang out that night? We come out?
Absolutely, not going to hang out.
Gotta see Doug. His beard has got like...
His beard just keeps growing. It's like down to here now. It's like down back to his chest. So anyway, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for supporting the Hop Shop. Thank you for supporting craft beer. And again, big thanks to John and Jim for coming all the way from way out in New Jersey, bringing this awesome beer wall and a great presentation on the screen too. Everybody else has to do that now. Everybody else has to come up with that presentation. Yeah, you set the bar higher. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Come here, Mike.